Critics have called André Rieu the worst thing to happen to classical music. They mock his colorful costumes, his huge productions, his smiles, and audiences who clap and dance during concerts. But there is one problem with that criticism. Millions of people absolutely love him. Rieu was born in Maastricht, Netherlands, in 1949, into a deeply musical family. His father was a respected conductor who believed classical music should be serious, disciplined, and technically perfect. As a child, Rieu learned the violin and spent years surrounded by orchestras and rehearsals. But his childhood was emotionally difficult. He later described his relationship with his father as distant and cold. His father also disliked light music and especially disapproved of waltzes. Then one moment changed everything. During one of his father's concerts, Rieu heard a Viennese waltz played as an encore. He watched the audience suddenly come alive. People smiled, tapped their feet, and began humming. Rieu realized that music didn't have to be complicated to be powerful. It could simply make people happy. That idea stayed with him. As a teenager, Rieu also met Marjorie, who would become his wife and lifelong partner. They married in 1975 and struggled financially while Rieu built his musical career. Marjorie eventually became an important part of the business behind his success. Rieu trained seriously as a violinist, but he didn't want to remain inside the traditional classical world. In 1978, he founded the Maastricht Salon Orchestra. Getting performances was difficult. He sent out hundreds of flyers without success and eventually visited retirement homes personally to find bookings. His biggest gamble came in 1987 when he founded the Johann Strauss Orchestra. He reportedly mortgaged his home to finance it. The orchestra began with just 12 musicians. Then came the breakthrough. In 1995, Rieu performed a waltz during halftime at a major football match. The performance reached a huge television audience and helped turn his recordings into international successes. Suddenly, waltzes were fashionable again. Rieu became known as the King of Waltz. His concerts grew into enormous productions filled with musicians, singers, dancers, elaborate costumes, and spectacular stage designs. Critics hated it. They accused him of turning classical music into entertainment and making it too commercial. But audiences kept coming. Rieu sold millions of recordings and became one of the world's most successful touring classical artists. Then, in 2008, his ambition nearly destroyed him. He created a massive traveling replica of Schönbrunn Palace, complete with fountains, dancers, elaborate costumes, and theatrical effects. The production reportedly cost around 35 million euros. When ticket sales failed to cover the enormous expenses, Rieu was left deeply in debt. His home, studio, and even his valuable Stradivarius violin were reportedly at risk. Soon afterward, a serious inner illness caused severe vertigo and forced him to cancel performances. It was one of the darkest periods of his career. But he survived. The palace production eventually attracted huge attention, audiences returned, and Rieu recovered financially. Through criticism, debt, illness, and personal losses, he continued doing what he had believed since childhood, making classical music feel joyful and accessible. His critics saw a man weakening classical music. His millions of